Good afternoon. I promised you this dessert and we're going to try to make it. We are going to make a recipe from ancient Rome. All right. Now this was served at the Colosseums. So while the gladiators were doing their thing, this was very popular. In other words, during Christ's time, Christ probably had this dish. Okay. Now we are going to need walnuts. So walnuts. We're going to need walnuts and we're going to need pine nuts. Now pine nuts, we're going to roast these. So set your oven at 325. When you roast pine nuts, very, very carefully, they have a floral vanilla smell to them, which is sweet. Okay, plus they have an oil in them, which is interesting. So we want a half a cup. We're going to use a half a cup because I know these nuts are good. Expensive, but they're good. Now the walnuts have an earthy smell to them and taste. So you can imagine when you mix these together, you're going to have that floral vanilla and you're going to have that woodsy taste, which is interesting. So that's about a half a cup. Now on the walnuts, I don't know how much I want to use. Half a cup. You have to think of the flavors that we're going to be pulling together on this. So the woodsy smell. Yeah, this should be enough. I'm going to do equal amounts on it. I might change it later, but that's where we're standing right now. Now, with this, let me get the other stuff. Now with that woodsy smell and that floral vanilla smell, we're going to also be using black peppers, which is going to give it that bite that we're looking for. You seeing how the flavors are starting to work? This is how you have to think with this. We are going to be stuffing dates with these. So you imagine you've got the sweetness of the dates, you're going to have that woodsy smell, you're going to have the heat, and then you're going to have that florals, oil of the vanilla out of the pine nuts. Then to finish it up, we will be putting some salt on them. I'm going to use iodized salt. I'm sure they used plain salt. They didn't have iodized salt at that time. So I'm just going to use the salt that I have. They might have used kelp at that. Another thing is we're going to have to heat oil. We're going to have to heat up some honey to reduce it. And that would be the candy that we're going to be sprinkling on it, which will give it that final sweetness. You see how these flavors are going together? You get the woodsy, you get the floral, the vanilla, then a slight salty taste, then you get the heat of the pepper, and then you're going to finish up with the sweetness of almost like a candy honey. So this is a very elaborate meal, and this is what they did. So as the Christians were being eaten by the lions, I guess they were enjoying themselves, as they said. Okay, so we're going to wait. I wonder if I should put more. I don't want to put too many walnuts in it because I'm afraid that their flavor will overtake what the pine nuts are. That's how I'm thinking. So this was a little less than a half a cup of walnuts. Not quite a half a cup, but I have a half a cup of pine. Now, I have them in different frying pans that are going to be going into the oven because I will know when the nuts are done when I can smell that vanilla flavoring, floral smell of the pine nuts, and I'm going to take them out, and then we're going to put this meal together. I should say this treat together. Now I'm going to get a small saucepan, and I'm going to start heating up some honey because we're going to be pouring honey over it, and I have to reduce it, so I might as well get it started now. So I guess that's how they would make their candy, by using the honey. At that time it was very popular. Remember, they didn't have the refined things that we have today. So the title of this will be Stuffed Dates, Apicius 7.13. I think he was writing cookbooks before we were. So I don't know how much honey I'm going to need. So this we're going to have to swing with the honey because I have no idea, except they do want you to reduce it. Okay, I think that's enough. I'm not going to let this go. And I'm not sure which honey they used. I have clove. This is one I can find most of the time. Maybe they had a combination. Because of wildflowers and stuff, they would have different honey flavors. But we're going to come as close as we can to what they had. Okay. Now, the honey I would put on a very, very low flame. Well, we have to wait for that. I don't know how long it's going to take for the pine nuts to get that vanilla floral smell that I'm going to be looking for, but I'm going to assume check it every 15 minutes. When we get to that point, we'll be putting this together. I need a cutting board. We have to cut our dates in half. This is one of 2 recipes I have of stuffed dates. Another thing, I've been reading, they use pepper, black pepper, as a seasoning and a garnish on a lot of their dishes. And some of their dishes are quite, that didn't work. Some of their dishes are quite elaborate too. Surprise, surprise. Reading up on them. So see, you never know what you're going to find in cookbooks. People say, oh, that's an old cookbook, but sometimes some of those very old recipes are very interesting. When they come back a second time around, they catch everybody's attention. You ever have one of those days? They mention special dates, but just dates are dates in my book. Now we're going to need a rack, but it's going to have a fine mesh so we pour the honey on them. You have, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. It won't be a problem. So see, these tiny little dates like this, we're going to be packing them. So when you cut them in half, make sure that you give them a boat. Make it like a boat, because that's where we're going to have to put the stuffing in. Okay, those are in. So I'm cutting the dates now. I'll show you. I just put the nuts in each in a different frying pan. My frying pans can go in the oven because they're metal all the way around. I don't have to worry, even the handle. But see, that's where we're going to be stuffing them. That's why you want them cut like this. They're like little boats. Some will be wide, some will be small, but they're, So now we know some of the foods that they had. And Egypt even had their own recipes as well. Because in the hieroglyphics, you could see them doing the work. That was their way of keeping a record of the life of their time. And this is where we get these recipes from. That's why I also go for the old cookbooks and I go for the new ones, and you can see how they've changed the history of the food. Of course, they eat some meats here that I cannot get. So it's like a lot of little half boats. Could you imagine making this and watching the Super Bowl? How nice. Oh, this one fell apart? I'll put it to use. I'll eat it. Can you imagine you laying this out for the family or your husband's friends with the other things that you put out and they eat, enjoying the Super Bowl, if you don't enjoy it with them? Okay, look, I don't know why you're doing this to me. Okay. So this is just one of 2 dishes that I have. I have a modern one. It doesn't sound as interesting as this one. I wonder how it'd go on crackers and stuff. You know, I wonder if they had crackers then too, you know? See, this is what I don't want, is them splitting. That's what some of them are doing, which I'm not happy about. For all you know, they probably still could make these in the Middle East. But this is something very popular there at that time. So I'm using a little less in walnuts and a little more pine nuts. I should have gone to the Middle Eastern store. I could have gotten dates with the pits in them, which would be easier than trying to find where they cut them here. This is like their candy. Another thing was, when I was reading the recipe, I said, I wonder if Christ had these. You know, that's because this is his time. And he was on earth, you know. Uh-huh. I found you. You're right here. No, I wonder if they could have just spliced them open and left them open like that, but I don't know. But I think they'd have more like this, they'd get more money. I don't know if it'll go good on anything else, but we're going to, you know, just do it this way and just see how it comes out. We'll get a dish. Oh, I'll take 5 of those. For how much? You can almost see it. Let me use a white plate instead. could just put them all together and just let them go. But I think I'll go to a Middle Eastern store next time and pick their dates up because their dates are bigger. Because we are going to make a paste out of the nuts with the pepper and stuff, so it'll be a paste, so it'll be easier to stuff these. Of course, they don't have the equipment. We have to make it easy because we have a mortar. They used a mortar and pestle where we could sit there and just use a blender, a spice blender, and just blend them up. Okay. Come on now. No, I'm not going to do every one of these. Okay, that's enough. So keep on checking those nuts. And remember, it's the pine nuts. Once you smell a slight hint of a floral with the vanilla, you've got them toasted just to the point where we'll be working with those. Okay, I have the honey is boiling on a low heat, so it's reducing slowly. I'm putting the walnuts in here. Remember, it's a little less than a half a cup of walnuts. I have more pine nuts. The pine nuts really came out. The fresher the nuts, the faster you're going to smell the floral. If you've had them for a while, it's going to take longer. I want to get the walnuts and nuts, pine nuts done. I have to put these in by themselves. I don't think I can get them all in here to blend. They want it into a paste, and it will go into a paste. Believe you me. Take it up. Whoa! That's hot. Yeah, it will blend up into a paste. And it's hot. Oh my God. I knew it was going to be hot. I didn't expect it to be that hot. Once it blended, I thought it'd be all right. But it does become a paste. I haven't even added black pepper yet. I'm going to add the black pepper with the other nuts coming in. Okay. All right, we're putting black peppercorns in here. How many? I really don't know. Let's put in about this much, maybe a teaspoon. And if that's not enough, we'll do more. Like I said, we're sort of playing with this. Everything I'm handling is hot right now. Remember, they used mortar and pestle at that time. We had the convenience of our equipment to make our life easier. Okay, we'll see how this comes out. Yeah, I know you're hot. I'll show you. It's really packed in here. You see? It's pasty. And I'm putting it in a bowl, as you're going to actually, I'll see. Yeah, a teaspoon of pepper should be fine. If I don't, we'll put more pepper in here. The pepper really has a nice smell with it. All right. Now they want you to add some salt to this. Say just a pinch, so there, we'll do that. Has a very unique smell, I'm not going to lie to you. It really does. But they want it in a paste like this. Now if you want to make it more in a paste, I guess you can. Well, I have to taste it to see what we got. I'm going to add some more pepper to it, because the pepper seems a little bland. Try another teaspoon. Remember, they did mortar and pestle when they did this before. They didn't have the convenience that we have today. Yeah, you need more pepper. Counteract that taste. And definitely salt. Salt to your taste. But remember, I added more pine nuts than I did add a little less of the walnuts. So you keep tasting until you get it to your flavor. And pack it in. That's all you're going to do now. Is just pack it in. It'll look like this. Let me get these off this plate. I'll be laying them on this plate. think I'm just going to pour the honey over. The honey's becoming golden over there, and it's on the lowest flame of simmer that I can get. It has a bite to it. And we'll see what they liked in their day. If nothing else, you can see that it is nutritious with the nuts in them. But just the pepper. See, I wanted a little bite of the pepper on this. But if you want less pepper, you can, but you are going to have to salt to taste. And you said, but this might have been expensive, but remember, he went to see the rulers and stuff. Like he said, he went into the house of sin with what they were doing and all. Okay, that's enough. You've candied yourself away. Now your honey's going to become a golden color. I could see it from here. It's really turning an orange golden color. Okay? So we'll just pour it over these. I'm not going to put it on a rack to drain. Could you imagine they're feeding thousands of people's women stuffing these things and using a mortar and pestle? I don't even know if these things are going to come out, but we're going to try eating the way they did in ancient Rome. Oh, I forgot, we got to put these in the oven when I'm done. They want us to put them in the oven for just a few minutes to heat it up. Right now I'm stuffing them. See, the modern people said, I recommend that you use equal amounts on the nuts and do this, but their recipe is pretty explicit. Just names the ingredients to taste. And I think they would use more pine nuts. Of course, it would depend upon the weather and the season, what's harvested and what is not, but we'll see. Now they do want you to warm these up in the oven. They're talking like 30 seconds or so, so I think I'll have to turn the oven up to a higher temperature, just trying to decide what temperature I want to put it at. But I wondered if 325 would be the right temperature. Maybe I should just take it back to 325. Because they do want it, they do state, warm it up 20 seconds. Heat. Now, if you wanted to split it on one side and leave it half open and then close it up, I guess you could do that. They might have done it that way. but these were too hard to do that. But if you can get fresh dates, larger dates, you could do that much easier than what I could do here. You know something? I'm going to try this. That's unusual. Okay. I don't think I'm going to use all this yet. Smile, though your heart is breaking. Yeah, we all do that. We all hurt. Must have had bigger dates. I'm just thinking of all the pounding they would have had to do just to get this in this position. Could you imagine these laid out on a platter? I know they have bigger dates, and I'm sure they use the larger dates for what I'm using here. I'm just using what I can find. I'm not doing any more dates. I think I came pretty close to the amount of dates I needed for this. If they get those really large dates, you could pack it much better. But I have the small ones, and they do want them heated up. All right, let me get them on a tray. Now they're only going to be in there for like 30 seconds, so they're talking a very short time. I think it's just to heat it up, and that's all. And we'll see how good they were making desserts at the Colosseums. You wouldn't believe how many old recipes I find, and I do try. Some are very good, and some you could send them back into the past. They're so bad. But they used a lot of pepper in their desserts. They have fritters. make, which is different. And they say to sprinkle them with black pepper, I think, and poppy seeds, if I remember correctly. It seems black pepper was used as a garnish, as well as a seasoning. See how many I did? And we'll put them in the oven till they're warm. Okay. I might leave them in a little longer because I don't know what their temperatures were. They sort of left me high and dry in that. But see, this is called ancient Roman cooking. I don't even know if you can find that book anymore. Oh God, that's hard. I know one thing, you'll definitely have to put honey on them to counteract the blandness, because the heat that's coming through is actually from the pepper. So that's where they would have that hot and sweet combination. But you can definitely taste the pine nuts. Look up, I know what I have to do next. Oh yeah, candy, very nice. See how dark the honey became? Reducing it, this is what they wanted you to do. They're still in the oven, we're just waiting for them. They must have had their oven much hotter because they use brick ovens. So a few seconds there might be a few minutes here. We're not cooking in a brick oven. Though I know some stores that they make very nice things in brick ovens, and you could see the brick ovens. They used to take us downstairs and we could actually see where they made the food. My husband had very good friends. So we're waiting. Now because you reduce the honey, the color of the honey, and it's starting to glaze, it's going to act a lot like corn syrup when it gets hard. Oh yeah, they're warm now. Yes, I'll feed you in a bit. No taffy. Well, just do the best I can. I'm gone. Okay. This is what I've done. This is really going to candy up. It is candy. I'm not lying. It really is candy and just all over. We'll see how it tastes. I think this has to cool on it a bit. Taffy? No. No! Does anybody else have cats that don't listen? Come on. See how it's candy? I mean, it's really candy. It really does candy. So you can see that this is like a candy, but this used to be a treat for them when they went to the Colosseums. That's going to be a bitch. And that's it. Stuffed dates from a Apicius 7.13, I think. Okay, so listen, you take care. Bye-bye.